Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hope you are enjoying the show today. We're going to take a break in a minute, and on the other side, I will be talking to British UK artist Tony Momrelle about his single Escape, which was written during the lockdown. So, you're listening to On the Sofa with yours truly, Esther Austin, on LN Soul Radio.
I know the times we're in is feeling more than strange, but there's a lot of things to still be grateful for.
Okay.
Catch On the Sofa with Esther each and every Sunday between 8 and 10 p.m. GMT, where she'll be interviewing the finest artists from the past and present, garnished with quality music. So that's On the Sofa with Esther each and every Sunday between 8 and 10 p.m. GMT, right here on LN Soul Radio, where Neo Soul, R&B and chat lives.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I have got
That's
this
all right.
amazing UK artist, Tony Momrelle, with me. I had the privilege of interviewing him a couple of years ago when he was the support artist for Angie Stone. And I remember muscling my way around the back, giving a smile to the security guard as I dived by. And I had grabbed a picture with yourself and Angie Stone. So, without further ado,
That's right.
Tony, who is Tony in a nutshell, a peanut shell, or a crab shell? Who is Tony Momrelle?
Um, in a nutshell, I'm just, I'm a person that I'm a singer, songwriter, label owner, producer, and a lover of music. And I'm still on this journey of creativeness and wanting to share that with the world.
That's kind of short, sharp, and sweet. Fantastic. And we're here to celebrate and to talk about your latest single, Escape, because that was very much birthed throughout the lockdown. Yeah, it's all happening today, isn't it? So that was pretty much birthed throughout the lockdown. And I've noticed, Tony,
Yep.
with your music and with your albums, there's always this thread of keep going, perseverance, tenacity.
Yep.
There's this thread that runs throughout your music. So just tell us a little bit about the single
Yep.
Escape, and then I'm going to take you back a bit. Is it be delayed? Oh, can you hear me? Can you see me, Tony? Tony. Is
Okay.
he?
The single itself, um,
We're having fun and frolics today. Never mind, the show must go on. Start again. The show must go on. Where does he live? Maybe I should just go up. I don't want to end the broadcast because Jesus.
Is that better than that, Esther?
Okay, yes. I think you know what I'm realizing with StreamYard as well. You have to have a very because I don't use my Wi-Fi. I use the Ethernet cable.
Okay.
Because it's otherwise it's
Yeah.
okay. Oh God,
Yeah.
hold on. Right. Okay, so I guess my question we'll make this work because I'll
We'll
edit. I
work
have
it.
to.
We're going to chop it up. We'll make it work. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I guess my question to you was, hold on, this is for the dog. Right. My question, Tony, was, with your new single Escape, just tell us a little bit more about how that came about because I know it came out throughout the lockdown and the message in the music very much talks about that experience. But one thing that I do like about what you are about, and I think I saw you traveling in the early part of last year. I think were you in Spain or Barcelona? Barcelona when we in the early stages of lockdown.
Where was I? Yeah, I was somewhere actually. Yeah, you're right. I
Yeah.
was somewhere traveling in the early stages. Where was I? Was it? I think it might have been Germany or something like
Okay.
that. That's where it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you've given a little bit of inspirational talk on that journey. So then
Yeah.
I that this whole single has evolved from lots of those inspirational talks and experiences. So tell us a little bit more about the single Escape.
Well, the single basically was written, in the heat of the height of the lockdown. It
Mm,
was a stage where I was getting through thick and fast phone calls and emails from my agent and team saying this concert's now going to be postponed. This tour is going to be cancelled and moved to a later date. So that was all happening at that time. And, all these venues were now closing and loads of artists within this world, in this industry were going through the same thing. Then
yeah.
obviously it was happening to other people in other businesses and other platforms of work.
Mm,
And it was everyone that was going through this whole feeling of like everything that they've known is now
mm,
changed. Their daily processing and what they would normally do throughout the week and month has now flipped, and they've now been jolted, and they've lost their equilibrium, and that's kind of how it was. And so for me, it was like I'm now processing this thing of like we're not going anywhere. I can't tour. I can't even come out my house.
yeah.
It was got to that thing of like, what's going on? And then I just thought, you know what? I can either stay in this panic where everyone's sending messages via social media. Look, this is happening. Or I was going to be productive. And so I thought, well, look,
Yeah.
if it's going to be like this, I'm going to write something about it. And I was kind of reading the tea leaves, let's say, and seeing that it was forecasted that the lockdown was going to go on longer. And I thought, look, I need to do some music, otherwise we're all going to crack up. And so let me create something. And it just so happened I was speaking to my guitarist, a couple of my guys I work with, and we were talking about it. I wanted to do something acoustic because it's in the lockdown, and if things get back together in terms of like the industry and that, I need to be ready. That I'm prepared for a venue just wanting to book me with an acoustic guitar or something.
Yes.
Because in my mind I was like, look, we're going to be heavily hit. And so
Mm,
I was thinking all these things, and I thought, let's just do something. I've always wanted to do something acoustic, so
mm,
let's do a song. And then it ended up being this EP. And I thought, well, look, I would really love to, exercise this in this time, as well as come up with something that it's more based around the voice. And so that's kind of how Escape took place. It just became a thing of I want something uplifting, upbeat, and then I just started to think about all the things that are going on, all the things that we should be grateful for, and just change our minds. Because the fact of the
absolutely.
matter is, we physically couldn't go anywhere, but actually, the mind is the only place that can travel when you're locked in. And so for me, it was like, well, let's escape in that sense of it all,
Uh,
and think of that thing. Do you know what I mean? Think of the thing that connects us, or the thing that you love, or imagine yourself on whatever beach and island that you would like to go on holiday to. Find
Yeah.
that place, and that's basically what that was about.
Yeah, because it's interesting because as you're talking, I'm getting the words you went back to the seat of your imagination, just like a child.
That's
Um,
right.
and that's why sometimes when I have my granddaughter with me, I love watching the all her movies and Walt Disney stuff because it very much is about imagination. And
Absolutely.
and what I liked about what you said, and I believe what a lot of artists probably did during that time, they had to go back to their music because
That's right.
music is their love, music is their source, and music
That's
is
right.
their creative expression. And
That's right.
I mean, it's interesting when you said we couldn't physically go anywhere. Maybe I wasn't really listening to the news because I was still walking my dog, right? I was the dog again, I know, but I would still go for my walks because I'm sure at one point we could go to the park to exercise.
That's correct. Yeah.
And I made sure that I went to the park. I walked around the park. Any park I found, I walked because I'm an outdoor gal, and
Yeah.
so and escape also for you. I mean, you escaped into doing this EP and everything that came from it. So, what did you personally learn about yourself during the lockdown, but also by doing the single?
Um, I learned about it's funny because this lockdown, the first thing that came to my mind was this is the longest time I've been in the UK for about 18 years. You
Wow.
know, and it actually it started to hit home a little bit more because it meant that I was now online more than ever before. People were online more than ever before, and it was now all about doing Skype calls, Zoom calls, and whatever form of streaming devices that you could have to speak to your family and loved ones because we were all isolated. So it made me isolate myself and spend more time for me
Mm,
mentally and unpacking stuff and what does this mean for me, and at the same time it was a time to go, well, you know what, let me work on me. Let me create this thing. And like other friends were like doing DIY. Like I've always wanted to do the garden. They're doing their gardens, or someone's wanted to improve their house by putting an extension on it, or whatever it may be. That's what people were doing. And so for me, it was that thing. It was like just time to spend time for me and to really slow down and analyze what I'm doing in my life and just things to appreciate, and speaking and connecting more with my family. And so that was really important for me. And at the same time, I felt it was very productive at the same time,
mm.
musically.
Yeah, excellent. And I'm going to play um, an, just a snippet from Escape. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to Tony Momrelle, and this is from his latest single, Escape.
Good morning. Let's go and seize the day. Because it's one I know we've never seen before. I know the times we're in is feeling more than strange. But there's a lot
I know you
of
want to sing
things
to
to
this,
still
Tony. I
be
can see it
grateful
coming on.
for.
Exactly, exactly.
Break down from the ones we have and bridge that gap that's standing in the way. A little more imagination to remove the bad and see that magic shine through that haze. Cause we've all had our fair share. Never did we think that this could be stuck in the middle like it's going nowhere. If you feel that you agree, then won't you come with me? Let's go find that place.
Go find that place, yeah.
Brighter days. Just give it up now with no delay.
Give it up. I love the lyrics, though, Tony. They're very, the tune is very catchy, and as you've noticed, we both started doing this together.
Yeah, of course.
That's the only way to do it, That's the
Yeah,
only way. Um, but also, I'll come back to that a little ways in the interview. But also, just the thing is, you feel like you're caught in the middle, and
yeah,
and I guess what came to me with something that you said there is how long though, because we can create and stand in that place of imagination for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a couple of months. But then after that, it's how you manage to keep that, even the imagination and the creativity alive. Because I
Yeah,
know that, this has impacted people on many levels, from their mental health and well-being. And then,
absolutely.
and also for yourselves as artists, and for you, there's a lot of people I heard saying, we haven't got anything to do, we're bored. I'm like, you're bored. So this track has so many different messages in there, so that even when we come out and come through lockdown, I think it's simply also saying to try and be grateful and make the most of what you do have.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's really the sentiment of the song. That's why it's when it starts off, the lyrics says, "Good morning, let's go and seize the day," because it's
Yes,
one I know we've never seen before, and though the times we're in is feeling, real strange, but there's a lot of things to still be grateful for, you know.
ex-
And so this good situation, from the bad, and
mm,
let's create something different, and let's be positive and think about the good things, and that will help our lives instead of just focusing on the bad. We know we're in a bad situation. We know economically the government is saying this and so forth. We know that. So put that to the side because we know that. But let's now dig deeper into the things that go, hang on a minute, let me do some other things. Let me start thinking positively about some other things in life. Um, and so that's kind of what it is. And that's pretty much what my music is about anyway.
it is, and I guess also it's also telling people, well, what can you do? What can you
Yeah,
do? What can you do? Because the reality is, this is where we're at. So what can you do? And
yeah,
so that's a fantastic message. And you are right, because your album, I mean, your first album, um, keep pushing, keep pushing. And then you had the best is yet to come. So that's
that's
why I
right.
said with your stuff, it's almost like keep pushing, don't give up, keep moving forward. But Tony, in those in between moments when you do have your lull, what did you do when you had those lulls? Because you couldn't always be like all the time. I mean, there must have been those moments when
Yeah,
you
there's times where it was just like it felt difficult, and like I said, it's the longest I've been in the UK for 18 years. So the frustration alone of like, not being able to see my band, and the reality of it is, and for the listeners, what's really important to convey is that you've got your family and friends and your network, right, that are here, but then you have your own family, that's your touring musician band family that you see on a regular basis. And actually, I see my band members more than I see other friends and family, because
mm,
usually midweek we'd be flying out again and would be going to this other country or whatever, would be out doing some festivals, back home for a couple of days and out again. So to have that disrupted and to be home for this amount of time and not to be able to connect with my guys and the music, as well as dealing with all of the concerts and stuff that were postponed and cancelled, it was a tough time because for the listeners' sake, when it comes to booking shows, we get contracts in like half a year in advance. So
okay,
so if they want to book me, I'm already taking bookings like for like at the end of this year, going into next year. So you got to imagine all of these shows that were now scheduled to come in, and then within a month's notice of supposed to be doing these things, we've had to cancel because of COVID. And
yes,
then most of these companies, most of these organizations, festivals and venues, they didn't have insurance to cover for COVID.
yeah,
No one knew this was going to happen in this way, so it really did affect a lot of things. And so there were times when I was down and
mm,
low, and I just started to like do different things. And I thought, you know what, I can't do the music the way I want to, so I'm going to
mm,
put myself into another hat. Now my other hat outside of music is property. I love property.
okay,
So I'm a bit of a property developer, and I do quite a few things like that. So it was
mm,
my mind to go, right, I'm going to put some overalls on, some dirty jeans. I'm going to go on the site, and we're going to get on with doing what we've got to do. And I was helping a lot of other friends of mine that are wanted to get into property or renovate their homes or whatever, and just giving advice. I've got a wealth of advice on that kind of stuff.
okay.
And so it was basically that. And so I just found myself spending more time helping people in some advice to do with mortgages and whatever it may be. And I found that was really great, good for me. And
Mm,
it was only the other day I was saying, look, it's funny. I'm now taking on this hat of developing and getting this project finished, and I've not had much time for getting into like spending a full day of like music and music related stuff. So even now I've got this brand new EP, and I'm project managing one of my properties, and then I'm rushing back to do an interview and wash the face and all of it. Yeah,
That's why you were,
Harley, yes.
yeah, that's why you were late. That's why you still got the cap on it. So you still got the dust in your head, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a different hat. I've got loads of hats. But you know what I mean? It's one of those things. And it was like, not to say that this is the new norm, but I embraced it and thought, well, hang on, this is actually good. I like it. It's helping me in terms of the mental side of it all, not
Yes.
just sitting around thinking, well, what's happening? I found something else. And speaking to even some of my guys in the band, you know, like Christian, who's my guitarist, he's a credible guy, a credible musician, but yet what he did was he was like, I'm going to carry on cooking. I'm going to start documenting some of my recipes and things. He loves to cook. And that was a way to help him get through. And then he was learning another instrument and, you know, documenting that. And it was another way of doing it. And I know other people that have decided to take on learning a skill, you know. And if anything, it's just made me feel like this is good. It's healthy to do that and have my head into other things as well. And help me focus. Otherwise, there would have been a lot more days where I'd have felt really down.
Brilliant.
So that helped me.
Brilliant. And, you know, you've been in the industry for a long time because you've performed with some real major bands. I mean, Incognito is one, and they are one of my favorite.
That's my family right there.
Incognito. You know, I remember interviewing Bluey many years ago, and I was like, wow, this guy is on a different planet. You know, they're very sort of spiritual. There's a lot of wisdom. There's a lot of, and I can, you know, almost see how what you do has fed into their narrative as well. That sort of personal development, spiritual, you know, insightful self type of thing. They're in terms of their music. And
Yeah.
what was it about Incognito? What was one of your, I would say, your favorite memories of being with Incognito?
Wow.
I know there's probably a lot.
There's so many because like being in Incognito for like 17 years, it was, you know, that's a lifetime worth of stories and a lifetime worth of, you know, memories. And every moment, to be honest with you, every tour was great. And the reasons why is because we've been playing as a band for so many years. And even though there was been new members, a lot of the guys have been in the band for like a few years. And Incognito is a touring band. So we're seeing each other so regularly that every moment was nice because you've got this real relationship and real friendship with all of these people and traveling, doing the music that we love and experiencing everything together, the highs and the lows. And so for me, it's very difficult to kind of like to compare Incognito or to say like, oh, you know, it's like this or it's like that, because it literally is like family, like that amount of years. So we've played so many amazing places. And for me, I'm still a fan. You can see I'm getting excited just talking about it.
I just want to say that.
It's the music. It's like it's everything that when we play or when I join them again, it's like there's this thing of like with me anyway that I'm like, we're taking the show, man. You know, my mind is like bulldog. It's like, especially with Incognito and my own band, I'm like, no. You know, the crowd don't know what we're gonna play. We're gonna hit it to them. We're gonna give it to them tonight. You know, it's that for me. It's that driving. There's more. So I love that, and I've taken that attitude in my own stuff. What I do in my own music.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that because I do remember the last time I interviewed you, it was the same thing. You were like, bah, bah. And I watched you perform because I was actually pressed right at front stage, you know, right there.
I know. I saw you.
Yeah, right there. And you were just really, I'm like, dang, man. And then Andrew Stone came up, like, dang. And then both of you together, it's like, dang. And also, we've got about 5 minutes left, Tony. But also, you've performed and with Sade as well.
My big sister right there.
This is really, you know, it's almost like music royalty. But really, and what was that like? I mean, you probably get asked that question. What was it like?
She's again. It's like those two bands, and it's all interlinked. That's why I'm going to say it's a big family because you know the connection with Incognito is actually connected to Sade too, and that is a case of when I first joined Incognito, very quickly, I was called to go in the studio, and Bluey was looking for a new singer to help work on this particular record. The album was called Life Stranger Than Fiction. I got in the studio. I was only going there to do a vocal session. Bluey heard my voice and went, "This is the voice I've been looking for." And unbeknownst to me, he was in the studio on the phone to his management saying, "I've got this guy to do this recording session, but I actually want him in the band." And they
Nice.
were like, "Look, that's great, Bluey, but we can't do it just yet because you're about to go on a US tour. There's not enough time to do paperwork and visas." So Bluey then spoke to me and said, "Look, I don't even know if you'd be interested in this, but I'd love you to be in the band." And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love it." Then he said, "I can't get you right now because we're going to the States and so forth, but just look out for my call. We will contact you as soon as we're coming to the end of the tour, and I'd like to get you involved on the next leg of the tour." So I was like, brilliant, music to my ears. Then here's the thing. Bluey went into John Henry's rehearsal studios off Caledonian Road, and he was there rehearsing with Incognito to do this US tour. And in the very next studio was Sade, and she was auditioning for a new singer to join her band. Bluey bumped into Sade. They both were talking, hadn't seen each other for a couple of years, catching up. And then, they both explained what they were doing. And Bluey said, "Look, you're auditioning for a singer. Can I see the list of names? Maybe I can give you some advice." Sade said, "We've got someone on reserve, but, we've got a lot of names." So Bluey went through all of these names and said, "Look, the guy you want, his name is not on the list. And you probably wouldn't know about it, and he wouldn't even know about this thing here. But I'm telling you, this is the guy. I want him for my band. I'm not able to get him right now, but this is the guy. His name's Tony Momrelle, and here's his telephone number." And the next day, Sade called me while I was doing my grocery shopping. And we spoke for a little bit. I went over to her house, and the rest is history. And for me, being a part of music royalty such as Sade and Incognito, I feel I'm always feeling incredibly humbled and privileged at the same time that I'm coming from that stock of musicians and artists, British artists. So it's one big family affair. When I tell you that they're my family, they're my family. Exactly. There you go.
And the last question, really last, is you talk about coming from that stock of family. So with coming from that stock of family, what do you feel are the attributes that you have taken away from them? Because you are a stock in yourself now. It's almost like that sort of tunneling into, and this is Tony Momrelle coming from this, and then what you're doing, then you're expanding out to give others that same feel.
Yeah. What I've learned from both entities, let's say, is discipline, patience, always finding the time, and be nice. I've learned this when there's been times, especially with Incognito, where it's been a real stressful time, and Blue's had to do a few interviews, or there's been some technical problems, or whatever it may be. He's always showing his gratitude, and for me, that's something that I look at and just go, like, I need to learn that, and I've learned that closely from him, as well as Sade in the way that she creates music. Both of them, they're two individuals that I look at and just think that they are incredible role models for any kind of musician artist. And I try to just mimic that, and it's like, let's say it's part of my DNA. You'll feel a bit and get a vibe of the Incognito thing from me, and as well as the Sade thing from me, and that's why I say it's quite tightly knitted.
And last, I mean, in terms of where to next, I mean, you've done something about the lockdown, and we're now sort of coming through the lockdown. I mean, have you got something that's going to sort of focus on the coming through, and then, because we don't know what's on the other side, because it's still quite uncertain, what the other side looks like. So, but what's on the other side for Tony Momrelle? Slight delay. Oh, there's a slight delay, isn't there, Tony?
Well, actually, I've had a few shows that have come through. There is a bit of a delay. I've had some shows. Yeah, I've had some shows come through.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on.
Okay, so there's been some shows that have come through. I'll be playing in Sicily in July. I've had some offers for America for later on in the year, as well as Germany and parts of Europe. So the hope is that with this COVID situation, that things will get under control, that will allow us to perform and to get back to some form of normality.
Yes.
But for me, my intention is to continue making music and putting it out there with the hope that I can be able to travel again with my band to perform it and perform what I do live to an audience that are going to feel the same energy and enjoy the music and really embrace the experience. I'm hoping. And I believe that the next bunch of shows that will come up, there will be some of the greatest shows coming because there's so
Yes.
many people that have gone through stuff that just can't wait to be free and listen to music and sing and cry and dance and do all the things that they've not been able to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And so on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to Tony Momrelle about his latest single Escape, and we're going to play out with that now. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
I apologize for the dog.
That's all right. No problem.
So this is the rest. So let's synchronize.
And don't give in, cause the battle there to win is yours.
Listen to the words.
Mind and spirit free. Lay your troubles down and just take 5. Just pull away, that is what you need. Oh, and just spend a little time. Come and go with me. Let's go find that place.
Find that place.
Just give it up now with no delay. You need to be. Go with me.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, in the background, played out a new single by Tony Momrelle. Go out and support this artist. You can find him on all platforms, I'll say all major
Right.
platforms. He's on Facebook, he's on all the social media platforms. So Tony, just want to say thank you. Finally we caught up.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you, darling.
And I'll be keeping an eye on what you're doing next. Yeah. So
Sure.
thank you. All right
Thank you
then.
so much. Thank you.
All right.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.